Hello, everyone. Welcome to what is going to be a fantastic webinar. I just know it. We always have a great time and learn so much from Damon Courtney of BookFunnel. So we are happy to have him back with us. So this today's topic is advanced book funnel using more of what you already have. I'm going to introduce Damon, which to many of you, you probably already know him, but Damon Courtney is the creator and CEO of BookFunnel, an ebook and audiobook delivery service for authors and publishers. As a lifelong software engineer, Damon is an expert in just about everything technical and can offer unique insight on publishing as it relates to software and technology. He is also the self-published author of his very own fantasy trilogy and continues to spin stories in his head that he hopes to someday get around to writing. And I feel you on that so much, Damon.
Yep,
So,
every writer does.
yes, there's just not enough time in the day, right?
Never enough.
All right, so just a little housekeeping. Everyone, we are, Damon has the Q&A box open beside him. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A box so that he'll be able to see that. And then I'll be monitoring the chat as well. So Damon, I'm going to turn it right on over to you.
All right. So I'm going to start by saying that I was telling Joy that I brought my dogs with me to my office today. So if you hear two titans clashing in the background, that's what that is. And I will attempt to quiet them down. And then you'll see them wandering in and out of frame over here. I was originally planning on doing sort of just some slides and kind of showing you some of the cool features of BookFunnel. And then as I started to put it together, I realized that it would actually just be better to show everybody. So this is sort of like, I call this advanced book funnel, but it is not advanced book funnel in the sense that this is hard to do. This is just advanced in that most people don't do these sort of tricks and things that they can use BookFunnel for. Because we do a lot, right? And like even as I show you the dashboard, BookFunnel, when we started 10 years ago, we did like this one tiny little thing. And now 10 years later, it feels like we do 1,000 things. And so we have so many people that the number one thing that we hear when we go to conferences and I go and I meet authors and they come up to our booth is they're like, "Oh, I have BookFunnel. I love BookFunnel. I know I'm not using it enough." Like we hear that all the time because so many authors come in when they get a BookFunnel account, they generally start with they came to do one thing. They wanted to send out an advanced reader copy. They wanted to set up a reader magnet and join group promos. They wanted to set up direct sales. But then they do that one thing and then they don't sort of explore some of the rest of what you can use BookFunnel for. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And I'm going to start by sharing with you. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to share my little browser here. I do have the questions open. So as I go along, if you have a question, pop it in there and I'm going to try to pay attention to that. So we kind of answer questions as we're in the part of the dashboard. So if you've never seen BookFunnel before, well, hopefully you're going to learn some fun stuff. I'm not going to go through the really basic stuff because we're kind of here. We got an hour for the more advanced topics, but anything in BookFunnel is going to start with a book. We're using an ebook here, although BookFunnel does audiobooks and short audio and other media and PDFs and all kinds of stuff. But generally, we're talking about ebooks, right? And so I've set up a demo. This is a copy. We always tend to use Alice's Adventures in Wonderland as our demo copy. So this is the book that I've created on BookFunnel. And the first thing that I want to show you, the first thing I want to note is that generally when you're using BookFunnel, you're going to start with some kind of landing page. So somewhere that you're going to send readers to go to when you want them to get this book, right? So if we're using Alice here as our example, I might go. I actually have a couple of examples down here. So I have a sign up page, right? And BookFunnel happily tells you in this little parenthetical what the purpose of this page is. So this right here is a universal book link. We'll talk about that in a second. This is an opt-in required page. So if I go, so first cool thing I want to show you is that like every link on BookFunnel has this little view drop down. And what it lets you do, here, I'll click on this page so you can see the larger one. What that lets you do is when you click this, you can open a new tab, which does exactly what it says on the tin. So here we are, open a new tab. You can copy it to clipboard, right? So now I've copied it to my clipboard and I can paste it into a new tab. Or you can actually generate a QR code for every single link on BookFunnel and then download it as either a JPEG, a PNG, or an SVG. This is what you can print in the back of your books. You can put into postcards. You can put it onto bookmarks. We see authors do all kinds of things with them. And that QR code goes right back to the link that you clicked on. So this is a short link. BookFunnel has this concept of shortened links that you can use using this little bookhip.com domain. And then most of the links go to dl.bookfunnel.com/something here. If I open that, you get the exact same page, right? Um, the interesting thing that I want to show you is that you can have as many landing pages on a book as you possibly could ever want. And the big mistake that I won't say it's a mistake, but the advanced technique that you can use on BookFunnel that we see that I don't see enough people using is you really should have a separate landing page for different purposes. So taking Alice here as an example, I'm going to go up to this little action button. Everything on BookFunnel has these two big action buttons right at the top. So everywhere you are, that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to go action, add landing page. I'm going to say it's an email sign up page. And I'm going to say this one is for WIP Facebook ads, right? So this name right here, if you hover over these little help ones, says to help you remember what this page is for. No, readers never see this name field anywhere. So you can name that anything that you want, and no one's ever going to see it. It's just for you and your dashboard. I'm not going to worry about integrations and all the rest of this stuff right now. We're just going to send it to a CSV. So if I save this, I now have a landing page. Now, if I open it, watch, if I open it, it's going to be the exact same page as the one that we just saw, because this is using my defaults in BookFunnel to set up all of these values. And in fact, if I go back to the book, so I can just click on this book and I can go back and add another landing page. We're going to create another sign up page and we're going to say, this one is for, what is this one for? This one is for main website signups. Um, and it doesn't matter what it's for. Again, the name is just there for me. So now if I go back to this book, I can see these multiple landing pages down here. And what you want to do is when you go to run your Facebook ads, if that's what you were doing, I'm just making up purposes. But when you go to run Facebook ads, you're going to take that link and use that. And then when you have this, when you link to this on your main website for signups, you're going to take that link and you're going to use that. The reason that you do two separate links. I see some questions coming in. I'm gonna get to them in 1 second. The reason you do two separate links is that everything you do on BookFunnel is tracked through that link. So if you are doing Facebook ads, you want all that Facebook ad traffic to go to one link. And then when you get signups from your main web page, you want those to go through a different link because we can use that data. We can know where those people came from. And that is the trick that I see. So most authors will just create this one, literally like Alice sign up page. And they'll use that same link everywhere on all of their promos, on all of their ads, on all of their websites, in the backs of their books. And that is just, it's a mistake because you could be tracking data and knowing exactly where readers are coming from. If you create a new sign up link and it's only in the back of book one, then you know exactly when somebody signs up that they came from the back of book one. And in fact, you can offer the same book, the same reader magnet, multiple times in the back of every book. Let's say you've got a 5-book series. You can offer that same reader magnet in the back of all 5 of those books. But if you do each of them with their own landing page, you'll actually know which book those readers came from when they signed up for your list. So that's my first trick. Let me look at the questions over here. So Nancy says, do you have the capability to set up an advanced wait list sign up to capture leads while you're still writing the book? No. What we recommend there, though, is set up either create a reader magnet, a short story that leads into your book. You could, if you had the first chapter ready to go, you could offer that as a little bit of teaser. Most people don't want to sign up for nothing. You might get friends and family and people like that who will sign up, but really what you're looking for, what readers are looking for is something that they can grab hold of now. So what we highly recommend is write a reader magnet. Most of our authors today that use BookFunnel really extensively will quite literally plan the reader magnet as part of the book release. So Lucy Score, who's is a good friend of mine and a huge romance author, she knows when she writes the book exactly what the bonus chapter at the end is going to be. It's just part of her writing process, so that every book she releases has a different bonus chapter that she offers up for sign up when people get to the end of the book. You could do the same thing by writing a short story as a reader magnet before you have the book ready to go. You're getting people's interest, and you're also hopefully using that reader magnet to get people excited about what's coming in the book when you have book one ready to go. So Andrea says, does the QR code only work when you have an active BookFunnel account, or is it permanent? For example, if BookFunnel ever vanished with the QR code. The QR code is going to point to a link on BookFunnel, but hold on for a second, because I'm going to get to I'm going to get to the next feature that I want to talk about. And I think that's going to answer your question even better, which is the next feature that we're going to talk about is called custom domains. And it's a really, really simple thing. It's a setup one time kind of thing, and then you're done. And what it is so I already have one domain that we use. This is the demo account that we use on BookFunnel. And we already have one domain set up called promos.bookfunnel.com. Now, what you would do here, I own damonjcourtney.com. That was my pen name. I decided to hide my identity by adding a J. I own the domain damonjcourtney.com. I can point a subdomain without getting too technical. So you could take something like I own damonjcourtney.com. So I can take books.damonjcourtney.com and point that to BookFunnel as a custom domain. Now, what that allows you to do is once you've done that, and again, it's a one-time setup. Once you've pointed your domain at BookFunnel, you can now use that domain everywhere. So here's a fun thing, right? So here we're going back to Alice, and here's the page that I just made for my main website signups, right? I'll show you a really good example of the way that we want authors to use this. So I'm going to do an email sign up page. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to say this is for back of book one, right? So I'm creating a link that I'm specifically going to put into the back of the first book of my series because I want to be able to track this stuff. Now, normally what you would see is you'd see these links here. So you have this little short link there, and you have this little dl.bookfunnel.com link there. That's the default domains. Those are the default URLs that you're going to see for everything on BookFunnel. But once you've pointed a custom domain in BookFunnel, you're also going to see your custom domain link underneath here. Now watch this. If I open this in a new tab, I get the same page that we've been seeing, right? So I'm just accepting all of BookFunnel's defaults. So every page I create is just using my defaults, and it's just, I'm not having to edit anything. But watch this. This promos.bookfunnel.com domain that I've also added as a custom domain, if I open that one, it's the exact same page. And what we tell people to do, so now if I go and I create a QR code from this QR code points to that link, which is on a domain that I own. So this is one of those features that not enough authors on BookFunnel use, but we highly recommend, which is if you point your custom domain at BookFunnel, BookFunnel's doing all the work of serving up the pages, doing everything that you like. But if you ever leave BookFunnel, don't leave. But if you ever decided to leave BookFunnel, or if, God forbid, we close down or something, that's your domain. You own it, and you own that link forever, for as long as you own that domain. So if you put that QR code or that link, QR codes you can use in an ebook. You generally just put the link in the ebook, but you would use the QR code in the back of the print book so that people can snap a picture and go download the bonus chapter or the reader magnet or whatever it is that you're doing. But as long as that link that you're using is not this dl.bookfunnel.com, but is instead your custom domain link, you can carry that with you everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. You own that domain. So that is what, especially if you're going to do things like QR codes or put them in the back of a book. If you put a link on your website, you can always change that link later, right? You can change the link on your website as many times as you want. Once you put a book out there in the world, especially when you put a print book out there with a QR code on it, that may live forever. That book may end up in a half-price book somewhere 10 years down the road, and your website is still there, your domain is still there, but you don't use BookFunnel anymore. But if you own the custom domain and you use the QR code that points to your domain, then you're always going to be able to repoint that. The other neat thing that you can do with custom domains is, so if I click on this promos.bookfunnel, so let's go back. I'm going to go back up real quick. I'm going to take this new page, this back of book one page that I made here, right? And I'm going to copy that to clipboard. And I'm going to go down to my domains. On my promo domain, I'm going to add a new custom link, and I'm going to say free offer, right? And that's going to point to that link right there. Now, down here, so this link right here, this free offer link, that's actually the link that I want to put in the back of my books. And if I click on it, nope, it just goes to the same page that we were just talking about. But the cool thing is that if I decide, so I can copy this link, I can go put that in the back of my book. Once you put it in your book, again, it's difficult to change it later because somebody owns that ebook or that print book out there somewhere, and they may have the copy they have may have an older link. But by using this custom link here, so this now goes to promos.bookfunnel.com/free offer. I can change where that points later. If I decide, oh, I don't want to offer this Alice as my reader magnet anymore. Now I've got a different reader magnet. Now I want to say I can edit this URL later and I can change where this points to, and it will go somewhere else. So the link that's now in the back of the book, nope, I can change it as many times as I want to. I can point it somewhere else. I can go somewhere else. And if I leave BookFunnel, I can change where this link goes because I own the domain name. I'm going to get to the questions. Lori says, I'm creating a custom domain that is a subdomain as my website. Would I add the same Facebook pixel ID as my main website? Yes, because the Facebook pixel ID is going to track by your primary domain. So bookfunnel.com is the primary domain. And then, promos.bookfunnel.com is a subdomain. But Facebook actually takes and does pixels by, it will track by subdomain, but it uses your credentials based on the primary domain itself. So yes, you can use the same pixel ID that if you're already using one on your website, you absolutely would go in. And in fact, on your custom domain here, I can show you. On your custom domain, you can edit your details. You can put that Facebook pixel right here, and every single page that BookFunnel loads for your custom domain will automatically insert that Facebook pixel every time the page loads. You don't have to go add it to every single landing page that you have. So hopefully that answers your question, Lori. Anonymous attendee says, does this keep track of book reviews as well? BookFunnel doesn't track book reviews. Most people use our service to send out their review copies and things like that. Tracking reviews is something that you're going to have to do on your own. There are services out there that basically scrape Amazon and scrape Goodreads and scrape Apple and try to do all that sort of stuff. It's a really crusty business that BookFunnel doesn't really get into. So tracking your reviews, and more importantly, tracking your reviewers, is something that you really want to keep track of on your own. Unless you're out there getting thousands of reviews, it's not actually that difficult to check your pages once or twice a week and just log any new reviews. Most of the time, you're not, if you're a new author, especially, you're not bringing in a ton of reviews every week. How or does BookFunnel? BookFunnel does not compete with your website. You can host your website anywhere you want. We have authors that host on their websites on Shopify, on Fourth Wall, on HostGator, on Bluehost, however you want to do it, up to and including your domain. And I do recommend that you register a domain for your author name. Usually, if you can get your name, go for it. I have DamonCourtney.com. If you can't get your name, then author your name. AuthorDamonCourtney.com is a highly recommended one. Once you have the domain, you can point a subdomain at BookFunnel, and we handle all of this linkage for you. But you're still going to be hosting your domain somewhere else that you would like to go. Are my book reviews on? No, BookFunnel doesn't host book reviews. You're going to use BookFunnel to deliver the review copies, and then you want reviews over on Amazon. You want them on Goodreads. You want them where your books live. You can post reviews on your website. You can copy paste them and put them over on your website and do all that sort of stuff. But reviews really need to live where readers are shopping for books, and that's primarily going to be on Amazon and on Apple and Google and wherever you've got your books living. Dawn, I have a lead magnet color page and maze for my children's book on my website where they need to sign up for it, so I capture the email. My website sends to the Amazon to purchase. I have a QR code at the back of my. So BookFunnel would take over. So BookFunnel would actually be able to host the sign up pages for you. If you're already doing signups on your website, that's fine. But oftentimes our sign up pages are optimized for authors and books. And so you can do a lot of things on our sign up pages that you typically can't do with the signups that you get from MailerLite and MailChimp and the other sort of services. Where BookFunnel would really step in is we would handle the delivery of your lead magnets, your coloring pages. Presumably they're in PDF format so that people could print them out. That is where BookFunnel would step in and handle delivery of that. We actually do have a lot of children's book authors who do that, who deliver coloring pages, who deliver audio. BookFunnel can host and deliver audio for you. A lot of children's book authors will host as their magnet, will host themselves reading their book. So this is as read by the author. And it's just a little short audio delivery, but it's a fun thing that you can give to parents or you can give to children, as children aren't signing up for your mailing list if you're selling a children's book. The parents are signing up. But BookFunnel handles the delivery of those magnets. It sounds like you may already have, if you've probably already got like a password protected place on your website that you're delivering that stuff, that can work. And you may find that it works just fine for you. But if not, BookFunnel steps in and we handle the delivery. And more importantly, all of the support. If your readers have any trouble downloading, if they have any trouble getting the books, if they have any trouble printing it, believe it or not, people still have trouble with printing in 2026. That is where our support team steps in 365 days a year and handles that support. Mary Ann says, I got lots of signups but no reviews on Amazon. You're going to see this a lot. People will absolutely sign up to get a free copy. Most of them will not go and review. And in fact, if you can get even 5% of the people that sign up to actually leave a review, that's a pretty high number. I couldn't tell you how to get people, other than really not nagging them, but just nicely reminding them that, hey, the book is live. If you could go, please leave your review. I've seen a lot of authors get a lot of mileage from appealing to people's humanity. Hey, as a small indie author, reviews are the lifeblood of book sales, and it would really help me. You've already, you received your copy a few weeks ago. It would really help me out if you could just pop over to Amazon. Here's the link. Make it as easy as possible. Here's the link to go and just click and leave your review. A few sentences would be tremendous, right? That is probably the best thing that you can do. There's nothing that you can do to force people to leave a review. And in fact, if you try to, Amazon will give you a not so light slap on the wrist. So you have to be really, really careful. You can't demand that people leave you a good review. And you can't require that people leave you a review. All you can do is say, I will give you a copy of my book in exchange for a review, and hopefully they go and review it. But the best thing that I have seen that works is just appealing to people's humanity and saying, hey, it would really help me out if you could leave a review on Goodreads. I know some of you left reviews on Amazon, and I really appreciate that. If you could also just copy your reviews over to Goodreads, it would be tremendously helpful. Reviews are how new authors like me are able to get in front of new readers and find and make a living. Things like that. I hope that answers your question. So we've talked about custom domains and free book on BookFunnel. So why will they buy the book on Amazon? So you can still get reviews on Amazon that are not verified purchases. If you want people to buy as a verified purchase, you can make that. You can ask them to please make that a part of your review process. If not, then you're going to get unverified reviews. You can often offer readers the ability to buy. Once readers have read your book as an advance copy, you can then ask them, you can have a day where you drop your price to 99 cents or 2.99 or something cheaper, and you can say, hey, everybody, the book is 99 cents today. If you can go buy a copy and then leave your review. That's really the best that you can do. Amazon doesn't let you leave verified reviews if they don't actually go and purchase the book. So then the advantage becomes that as being part of your ARC team, they're able to get and read the book early. That's the advanced part of the advanced review copies. And then once they've read the book, prepare their review. And then on the day of release, maybe you make on the day of release, the only people that are looking for your book are going to be your early reviewers. And unless you already have a huge following, in which case you probably don't have a hard time getting reviews anyway. So you could make the book 99 cents on launch as a bonus to your existing reviewers and say, hey, the book is 99 cents for the next 2 days. Please go buy your copy and leave your verified review. And then you immediately put the price back up to its normal price. So we talked about landing pages and having multiple landing pages, which we highly recommend. We've talked about custom domains. Pointing a custom domain to BookFunnel allows you to control all of your domains, all of your links, and then own those links and those domains into the future, even if you leave BookFunnel. And so we highly recommend doing those. One of the things that you've probably that you may have seen. So if I go to add a new, let's see, we'll go back to books, and I'll go back to my test book, and I'm going to add a new landing page. And this time, I'm gonna go futz with the defaults a little bit because I want to show you what BookFunnel actually looks like on a traditional. So the default BookFunnel page actually looks something like this. So it has this gray and white two-tone border. It uses this blue button. It has a sample link. It has the so this is if you study reader patterns and web browsing patterns, BookFunnel follows the classic F formation, which if you look at this page, it's a giant capital F, right? So it goes down like this, and then it goes across, and then it goes across. So the first thing we want when people look at a web page, the first thing they do is go down the left-hand side, and then they will immediately go to the right at the top, and then they will come down and they will go right again, and then they start reading down like this. So the first thing we want them to see is our big, beautiful book cover, followed by our tagline or whatever we have in here. This is this is one we use for Alice. Follow Alice down the rabbit hole. I would ask you to come up with something a bit more engaging than that. And then the second line, get your free copy of Alice's Adventure in 1 Day. So this is the call to action. And then finally the button, right? And the button leads them to this sign up dialogue and all that sort of stuff. So this is what a default landing page looks like on BookFunnel. But if you'll notice, if you look at our other landing pages, the ones that we created already, they look quite a bit different. And that is because these landing pages were created with a custom theme. So this is the next feature that we're going to talk about, which is over on BookFunnel, by default, you can edit your pages any way that you want. Right. So if I go back to edit and I edit the landing page, it has these are the sort of default themes, BookFunnel, black and gray. So let's show you what that looks, right? So we have this handy preview button up here. We can just render the book into a previewer. And it'll actually show you like what your page will look like on a mobile device, on an iPad, and then finally on a desktop. So all I did was change the theme, the default theme, to the black and gray. So now we have sort of a darker theme on the page. I can also change it to solid black, and I get the same thing, solid black. I can change it to solid white or the default sort of white and gray, and that's the BookFunnel white and gray that I was just showing you. But BookFunnel has a feature called custom themes. And down here, if I go click on themes, we have so we have two themes in here. One is called the Sissy K theme, which if you've noticed the pillow behind me, it says Sissy K Pickle Bottom. And that is my wife, Julie, who does all of our tests and demos and our videos. She created the author Sissy K Pickle Bottom as a pen name. And it just tickles her to no end every time she has to use it. I told that story at NINC one year, and then Lucy Score, who was in the audience, was laughing so hard. And then I got home, and a few weeks later, I got that pillow in the mail. Lucy had a Sissy K Pickle Bottom pillow made. So if I go look at the Sissy K theme, you'll notice this is what it looks like. It uses this purple heading color, this purple button color, and then it's got slightly different colors on the background on top and bottom, right? So if I go and I look at this, there's actually a gradient here that goes from top to bottom. All of that is part of the theme. So I can edit this theme, and I can change those colors, and I can do anything I want. I can change the button color. So if I click on this little guy, I can change. I'm going to copy this and keep it what it is, but so I can change the button color to something like that, which is not great. And if I save that theme, it immediately updates over here. So now my button color has changed. Now I'm going to go put that back because this is my wife's theme and not mine. And everything that you do on BookFunnel is immediate. I have ADHD, if you can't tell from listening to me for 25, 30 minutes now. And we're very much, we don't like waiting for things. So everything that you do at BookFunnel, the minute you hit save, it propagates across the entire system. So what's really cool about themes is, so this is called the Sissy K theme. And what we can do is we can actually we can go back into our theme settings, and then we can say, if I'm looking at the Sissy K theme, I can say, apply this theme to all pages. So every landing page you've created on BookFunnel, you can immediately, once you've created a theme, you can apply it to all of your pages. And even better than that, you can go into your pen names. And if I go into the SK Picklebottom sorry, pen name, I can set a theme by author. So I can edit this author details and I can choose the default theme, which right now SK Picklebottom is set for the Sissy K theme. And then I can click apply to all of the pages that belong to this author only. So you can create individual author themes and then have them applied. And every time you create a new landing page for that author, it's going to automatically get the theme that you've created. So it's really neat because it allows, I mean, authors generally have a vibe, right? You've created a sort of branding for yourself based on a set of colors. If you're doing like dark fantasy, well, then you don't want white and gray. You want dark blacks and beautiful purples and things like that. We also have this really ugly theme here, which is what that we created just to literally show off that BookFunnel doesn't. In general, BookFunnel has seat belts on most of the dashboard. There are a lot of things that we try to gently nudge you not to do. But when it comes to themes, you can make the ugliest colors that you want as much as you want. And in fact, if I go look at our landing pages, you can actually see if I go back to this demo book, I think I think for this UBL, we actually used the really ugly. Yes, we did. So we used the really ugly theme up here just to kind of show you what that looks like with all of these books. So you can even create little one-off themes. So if we have authors that will create a different theme for each of their books because they want that page to really to pull the colors out of the book cover and really be custom made for that book. There's no limit on the number of themes that you can use. But it's a really good idea to be able to create one that is for your author name and then use that, apply that as the default theme for your author name, for your pen name. And then BookFunnel will just automatically handle it for you. Every page that you create is going to automatically get that theme. The other kind of cool thing that themes get you is so going back to our little demo book. The other cool thing that themes get you is you can actually change out the logos. BookFunnel allows you in custom themes to remove the BookFunnel logo. So I showed you the if I go back to, we'll go back to the unnamed page. So notice this one has the default BookFunnel logos up here at the top corner, and then in the bottom. But on the Sissy K theme, my wife created Meow Meow Publishing because she thought that was funny too. And you can't hardly, let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. It's actually an animated GIF, so you can see the little swirling loop around the little cat logo there. Yeah, we let you do that. Because at BookFunnel, we're in the business of building your brand, not ours. So we absolutely let you remove all of BookFunnel's branding from your pages and make the branding be whatever you want it to be. I'm going to pause there. Oh, just in time, Grace. Can we upload an image other than the book that the author's picture to the sign-up page? It's based on the cover, whatever is associated with the book. So that's not a feature that we have right now. You could go and set up a bundle landing page that would allow you. So let's go and show you what that looks like. So you can set up a page that is a bundle. So if I open this up in a tab, so we've got 3 books across there. Authors will do this for things like I'm going to say starter library. Authors will use this as a way to offer more than one book. So let's see. I'm just going to set that up. And then we'll save it. So now we can go and we can grab that link and then paste that in here and we can create a bundle. It's a bundle of 1. But if I open up this link now, I have this bundle of 1. And if I go back to that bundle, now I can go in and I can edit the bundle details and I can add an author profile image or something at the top. I'm trying to see if I have something that it's just in my random images that might work. Oh, you know what? I have a picture of my cat. That's my cat. I don't know if you can see that. We'll just upload a picture of my cat as my header image. And then if I go back here and go back to my starter library, and now I have a picture of my cat. So you can, this header image and all of this stuff can be controlled. So you could create an author profile up here and then have your book down here. And then when they click this link, people still get the sign up, just pops right up. So hopefully that answers your question, Grace. I'm running, so Laura says, I'm running an invite-only group promo in September. I'm wondering if you have any tips or tricks for optimizing performance beyond what we've already shown. The promo is a nonfiction list building promo. Contributors are um, for optimizing performance. The best thing, I mean, so as the organizer of the promo, the best thing that you can possibly do is be an active curator. Make sure that so it says it's a nonfiction. I don't know what the topic of the nonfiction is, right? I could actually go look up your account and find it if you want me to. But assuming that you're doing a nonfiction promo on how to get ahead in business. Okay, topic from multi-published novelist to reader's next obsession. Okay, so this is a promo for writers, for other novelists, for other authors, right? So make sure that the books that you include, because you're doing it privately, which is great because that means you can be very choosy about who you include in that. It sounds a bit mercenary, but make sure that you're including some authors that have an audience, right? It's somebody might have a fantastic nonfiction book about how to get your become your reader's next obsession, but if they've only got a newsletter of 100 people, it's not going to move the needle a whole lot. So you pick and choose authors for your promos, some of whom have great books but may have small lists, and some of them they may not have the most accurate fit in the book, but they have a huge list. And that's sort of the balance that you're trying to strike in the books that you put into those. That is the biggest optimizing thing that you can possibly do is the authors that you get into your promo are going to matter the most when it comes to whether or not the promo sees a lot of success. Use a really great header image. BookFunnel will, if you put a header image into your promo, everywhere you share that, be it on X or Instagram or Facebook, BookFunnel is going to use that image everywhere. Put dates on the image, like down in the bottom, so like August 1st through August 25th only, because that creates a sense of urgency. That's something that we don't see a lot of authors. We see the authors that are really successful organizing promos do, and we don't see enough people doing that. You really do. As much as we hate these tricks, right? Most authors I know, very few love marketing. Most of them hate it. And we all hate these marketing tricks that marketers and advertisers use on us, but they work. Like how many times have you been standing in the checkout line and you were like, oh, I do need a USB cable, and then you end up buying it. Well, they got you, right? But those tricks actually work. And so by putting dates on there, making it very clear that this is a limited time only, it sets a ticking clock and it makes people go, oh, I better go get that now. I fall prey to that all the time. Even though I know it's probably going to be the same special next week. It's the mattress store that's forever going out of business. But that's what we fall for. So curate the books that go in. And if you can, look for authors that may have bigger lists, particularly since the audience that you're trying to reach is other authors. So there's a huge audience there. And then the other thing you can do is email our support team. So if you put together a really good promo, and the number one thing that you're doing that I think is great is you're doing it as a private promo. If those of you who haven't done group promos on BookFunnel, they're over here and they look like this. So if you go click on group promos, there's like 1,000 romance promos that are currently recruiting. So what Lori has done is when she went over to create a new promo, she checked this little box down here that says where is it? Right there. So that says this is a private promo. And what that means is that it will not show up on this board for every user of BookFunnel to join. And instead, you share the link with other authors via Facebook groups, Discord servers, however you do it. You share that link so that only the people that you want to invite are joining in your promos. If you put together a really good promo and you've got a lot of great books, email our support team, Lori. We do webinars once a month. Our lead author support, Jack, is always answering questions. We send out our weekly email. If it's a good promo with lots of great books for authors to learn more about, it sounds like something that we would be interested in. So we don't do it all the time. In fact, we don't even really do it often, but if it's a good promo and it's got some great books in it, um, Jack might send it out in our weekly email to all of BookFunnel's authors, and that'll get you a lot of attention. Robin, I'll get to you in 1 second. Let me get Lori's question. Should we have separate Facebook pages for each book or bundle? No. Facebook, in fact, really discourages you from using multiple pixels everywhere. They really give you one pixel, and then they will track that pixel based on the URL that you're loading. In other words, if you have a pixel on this page, Facebook's going to track that pixel down to that page. And if you have a different page over here, even the same pixel on a different page is going to track differently. So Facebook knows how to slice and dice all that data, even though you're only using one pixel. And in fact, they really encourage you to primarily use a single pixel because then they can actually gather data from everywhere and start to aggregate that data together. Because sometimes if you had multiple pixels, they wouldn't be able to tie all those things back to each other and really get a bit more insight into your readers' habits. Robin says, I don't have all the details of the situation, but I read of a case where someone stopped using Kindle, possibly changed the model, and all the Kindle books that the customer had purchased disappeared. Uh, um, every book you purchase from every store, every ebook and audiobook you purchase in the world, with a few exceptions, you are renting the book. Amazon is the biggest one for this, but Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, Google Books, they all do the same. You are only renting a copy of the book. You do not own it forever. It is one of the selling features of authors that do direct sales and use BookFunnel for delivery. BookFunnel does not have that process. You can go and once you own a book, you can download a copy and you can keep it forever. Now, BookFunnel keeps a library of all of your books for you, but you're not just renting a copy. You can download it, store it on your computer, and you can keep it forever. So I, unless you cancel your Amazon account entirely, which some people have because some people are not pleased with some of the things that Amazon does. If you cancel your Amazon account, yes, you 100% will lose access to everything you ever purchased on that account, all of the digital content. If you cancel your Audible account, you will lose all of the audiobooks that you purchased because you're not actually purchasing them, you don't own them. You're purchasing a lease to a copy of that book. Same thing with Barnes and Noble and any of them. It is absolutely an industry-wide practice, and you are really only renting your books. It's why some readers, we've had a lot more readers in the last few years that really insist on buying direct from their authors and especially using BookFunnel because they can always download the copy. And even if the book somehow gets deleted later, which BookFunnel doesn't delete books, we don't do that. But even if it somehow magically disappeared later, they've got a copy saved on their computer and they're never going to lose that copy. So, but yes, everybody in the industry does it that way. Lori's got it. All right. So back to, I wasn't going to talk about group promos, but I'll just give you a brief rundown for those who don't know. Group promos are just a way that you can join with other authors in your genres to help promote books. As you can see, there's two types. There's a sales promo and there's newsletter promos. So if we actually click over to running promos, you can see all the promos that are currently running on BookFunnel. Currently 900 promos are actively running. So here's July, August, clean Christian romance. This is a sales promo. So let's open it up and see what that looks like. Oh, it still says coming soon. Started 7:15. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, it did. Oh, it ended. It's already ended today. So let's go down the list a little bit. Let's go down to the 6th since we're already on the 5th. Are we on the 6th? No, we're on the 6th. Or we're on the 5th. So here's an epic, here's a newsletter promo. I was trying to look for, I'm going to stay away from the sizzling and sexy romance because I don't want to offend anybody with any covers. So this one is an Amazon promo for, so this is a good promo image. Again, I would put dates down here because that little bit of a ticking clock. Speaking of which, you actually can add a ticking clock to your promos. This one doesn't have one. We'll see if I can find one. But when you join in a promo, so this is a sales promo. So if I click on any of these, they're all going to be purchases to Amazon. So this is not for newsletter signups. That's what the sign up promos are for. So let's go look at one of those. So here's like a newsletter promo. The fiction giveaway extra. Okay, so this probably doesn't have a bunch of uh, sizzling stuff in it. So this organizer has opted not to use a header image. Really don't recommend that. It's not a good look, especially when you start sharing it with other people. But you can see there's a lot of really good, nice looking book covers in here, so it's pretty good. If I click on any of these are newsletter signups, right? So each one of these that I click on, I can click this little thing and get the drop down dialog and then sign up. Notice how, so I'm just using my arrow keys to tab through these, but notice how each one of them, this is a good one. This page, he's absolutely customized all those theme colors to that book. And it looks really good. That's a really good looking page. So as I tab through these pages, you're going to find that a lot of them use just darker themes and lighter themes, but we occasionally get to one that has a really custom theme in it. I'll back up a step and go backwards. So most of them just use default gray or the defaults or the default black or the dark themes. But you do see a couple. So that's a nice custom color. She actually customized the color to sort of the purples in her book cover, but left the rest of it. That's a good color. That works. Well, I can't find one better than that other one. He has a really good, that's a really good theme. So promos are really just about everybody sharing together because you have readers that read small town romance. I have readers that read small town romance. Let's all get together and share our readers because our readers all like the same books and they're looking for more. They're always looking for more books to read. Marianne says, does the limited time 99¢ go on the landing page or how does it get to the reader? So you have to, so let's go look at what a UBL looks like, right? So in a sales promo, I'm going to go just scroll down to hot, cool summer. That's good. I like that. So let's open up this other promo here. So these are all books. This is probably, so these all go to a UBL. That's a fun theme. It's a little bright, but hey. So this is, if we go to some of these, you'll see the price on there. So free in KU or $4.99. You decide what these pages say, right? So if I go back to BookFunnel and I go to my book and I'm going to create a new landing page, I'm going to create a universal book link, which is what that's called. And I'm going to say, sales, UBL for 99¢. All right, it doesn't really matter what it is. So there's the book that I'm going to choose. I'm going to display ebook links. I'm not going to add anything, but I am going to add I'm going to add a big button, free in KU. And we'll just go to bookfunnel.com because I'm not going to go paste a link in there. So if I save this, here we'll save and close so I can open the link. You can put anything you want in there. Now, here's the problem. If you're going to join a promo that says that it's for 99¢ sale, you need to make sure your book is 99¢ wherever they land. If this book takes them to your book on Amazon, that book should be 99¢ when the reader clicks there, especially if you're going to go in, if I'm going to go edit this and I'm going to say, let's say I'm going to change the big one. I'm going to say, since this weekend, for 2 days. There is a limit to how many characters you can put in there. So if you're going to say that, then when they click this link, it better be 99€ when they get there, or they're going to feel like they got cheated. So you are in control of making the book 99€ wherever they're going. And I can go over on my UBL, I can actually add links. So I can add ebook store links, right? So let's say I'm going to do Kindle, and then I'm going to say, I'm just using bookfunnel.com for everything because I don't actually care. And then I'm going to add another link, and this one's going to go to Apple Books. Sure. We'll just go to apple.com. And I can remove that big button, right? Let's go take that out. And instead, let's available for So now I'm just going to change the text, the heading text on the page. So every section of here has a heading. So available for 99€ this weekend only, and I've got a link that's going to go to Kindle, which is not, it's going to BookFunnel. And then I got a link that goes to Apple Book. So You, the author, have to make sure that they are 99 cents when they get there, but you can make this text say anything that you want. BookFunnel is not going to confirm that. I have no way of confirming that you are actually 99 cents, but you're going to want to make sure that it actually is 99 cents when they get there. So I hope that answered your question, Marianne. Uh, CC says the promo I'm in this month has a time clock on it for sci-fi and fantasy. Oh, yeah. Did you want us to go look at it? Because we can go look at it. There you go. So this is that's a good header image. I like that. I'm a sucker for fantasy and sci-fi. I'm a fantasy reader by trade and a writer. So yes, this is the ticking clock, literally that I was talking about earlier. So CC has added or this one has the clock on it. And notice, okay, so something I want you to notice is that CC is using her custom domain here, right? So she's got bf.ccrobinsonauthor.com. This is her link. Now, if she decided later to leave BookFunnel, she could change that link and she could make this link on her own website and make it go anywhere that she wants. And notice, oh, here's another one. Um, do you have any of your books in here, I assume? I'm looking for Cece's books, unless she writes under a pen name, Upheaval. Okay, let's find Upheaval. Was it a lot of books? Or was it up at the top? No. Okay, so uh, the cool thing, so one nice thing feature that you get about I'm just looking for your cover because I wanted to see it. One nice thing that you get, a bonus that you get when you are the organizer of a promo. So first thing to know about promos is you can organize, anybody can be an organizer. Most all of the promos on BookFunnel are organized by authors just like you. We do have some BookFunnel promos that we sponsor that are managed by BookFunnel's admins that are there to help authors get their with their first promos and things like that, but most of the promos on BookFunnel are managed by authors just like you. I'm still looking for your book, CC. There we go. So, oh, you got a nice thing here too. And so one nice thing that you get when you are the organizer of a promo is that you can promote your book to the top. So you can always make sure if you're the organizer, you can control which books um, show up at the top of the order when the books are displayed. By default, in a promo, BookFunnel will randomize all of the book covers when the promo is loaded. We do this so that every book has a chance to get to the top. Because if they were always in the same order, what you're going to find is the books at the top always get more clicks, and then the clicks tend to taper off at the bottom. So by default, when promos are created, BookFunnel will always randomize the order. But even in randomizing the order, the organizer can select a certain number of books to always be pushed to the top, and no matter how many times the order gets randomized, those books are always at the top, and that is almost always the organizer's own books. And then I'm going to answer CZ. Yeah, so this is the HC Southwark promo, and you can tell why. Guess whose book's right there at the top. And look how this is the other thing about promos is there are layouts that you can choose from, and HC has chosen the layout where there's one big book on top and then three books going down. But notice how not only is their book at the very top, it's the largest cover. And when you organize promos, you can do that. You have the power to do that. I've got Andrea. Would there be any advantages to organize a promo with other authors right when your book launches, or should you wait until the book's more established? No, I would say right after the book launches is a great time. That's when you can gain a lot of momentum. I might even organize a promo of new books and new authors, right? So trying to get some, even if you get some established authors, even established authors are writing new books and putting out book ones and trying to get people interested in some of those newer books. So if you wanted to organize a promo that was all about new books just released, new releases, readers love that. Readers are always looking for new, right? A lot of the readers that come through BookFunnel's promos, they've seen some of these books before. They've been through some of these promos, and a lot of authors tend to use the same reader magnets over and 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 over again. And so they've seen a lot of those books. So if you were out there doing a promo of brand new releases, I think probably get a lot of attention on that. I know we have some authors that already do that. So yes, if you can do, oh, there's my cat again. If you wanted to organize a promo, I would reach for that. And no, I would not wait. I would absolutely. The more momentum that you can get on your book when it first starts, the better off you're going to be in the long run. You might be able to get enough sales and get enough traffic that Amazon grabs you by the algorithm and picks you up and starts boosting you to other people. So this is not one of those cases when your book is first out that you really kind of want to spread out your efforts. You want to try to put more efforts into the first 30 days of your book launch. We only have about a few minutes left, so I don't know that I have anything else that I can really show you on BookFunnel that anybody, I mean, I have lots of things I could show you, but since we only have an hour, I don't have a ton of time to show you. I will show you just a few. I'll run down the left nav and just show you a few things. Certified mail is the feature that we use for sending out advanced reader copies. What that allows you to do is to create a campaign, paste all the email addresses in here, and send out the book. BookFunnel will automatically send out a unique copy of that book to every single person in the campaign that is only for them to download. It also adds the book to their library and does a bunch of other stuff, and you can send reminder emails and follow-up emails and all kinds of good stuff. Gift a book is quite literally what it says. It's for sending an individual gift. So if I wanted to send myself a free copy of my book, I can send it to Damon, and I can send it to Damon at bookfunnel.com, and I can select a book, and I can say that, oh, I want that book. And then you can leave all these messages in here. Oh, a birthday surprise template. So if you collect your readers' birthdays, we have authors that send out free gifts, free books as a birthday on their birthday. So you can do all that. So Gift a Book does exactly that. It just sends a single copy of the book with a download link that's just for them. Bulk delivery. This is made for authors that are doing crowdfunding. So if you're doing Kickstarter campaigns or a backer kit campaign, something like that, and you suddenly find yourself having to deliver like 6 books to 1,000 people, you can just go through here and you can select all those books. And then down here, you paste all those email addresses and deliver, and that will immediately push that book into everybody's BookFunnel libraries. So it doesn't send them an email because you've already got that. You've already have their email address. You can send them an update on Kickstarter. You can send them updates on BackerKit. What it does do is push the book into their BookFunnel library so that they can then immediately go and retrieve it. If they have the BookFunnel app, which I do and millions of readers do, the book will just automatically appear in their library. Otherwise, they can go to mybookfunnel.com. And it will take you, this is my personal library. They can go to mybookfunnel.com and they can see all the books that they've ever received. So bulk delivery is great when you have a lot of books and a lot of readers. That's literally what that's. But we talked about group promos. Author swaps is really group promos on a one-on-one level. So let's say I'm going to filter down to children's books, all subgenres. So children's books, Michelle Cadora is a new author. So she's brand new to BookFunnel. She hasn't done any swaps yet. And she has a children's picture book. So here we can see this is the book that she's offering to swap. We can actually preview the page. So here's the book, A Story About Curiosity. Get your free copy of Exploring Grandpa's Garden. That's a cute book. I like that book cover. It makes me smile. And then what she's saying is she's sending out a newsletter on August 10th, so next Monday. She wants to swap ebooks. So she's looking for other children's books authors who have ebooks to swap. And then she wants to swap sign-up pages. So she's looking for newsletter signups, not for sales. And if I like this, if I were a children's book author, oh, and she's got a note here that says, I'm building my story club ahead of the launch of my debut book, blah, 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 blah. You can read all of her information here. If I wanted to swap with her, I could say, request this swap. And here's the information. It says, when will you share? Well, she's sharing it on the 10th. Sure. My newsletter goes out on the 13th. I don't have a newsletter, just saying. Placement. This is exclusive, meaning her book will be the only book that I share in my entire email. Featured, meaning her book will be at the top, but I might share a few others, or mention. I'm just going to mention her book and some others that I'm sharing. So we'll give her an exclusive. If you have a smaller list, offering an exclusive is a great way to get larger authors to pay attention to you because you're saying, hey, I only have a small list, but you're going to be the only person I talk about in my newsletter that week. Who's your primary audience? A mix of, so this is authors A lot of authors are Kindle Unlimited, meaning they're exclusive to Amazon. A lot of authors are wide. And some authors want to make sure that they're swapping with like authors, right? If their books are available everywhere, they don't really want to swap with KU authors. They want readers who are available on all platforms. And then we're going to tell the author here which of our books we're willing to swap. And then we select a landing page. So we've already made all these. So I would go make a difference. So this is my Alice sign up page. And then any other comments, something that you want to send to the author. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. Your book looks amazing. I can't wait to share with you. Swaps are just that. They are on the day that I've said that I was going to share, I'm going to send your book to my newsletter and you're going to send my book to your newsletter. We're going to swap mentions of our books and hopefully get some new readers. Do they have to be on BookFunnel for swaps? Yes, all of BookFunnel features are specific to BookFunnel. The nice thing is you can sign up if you really just want to do sales swaps, meaning you're just swapping links to Amazon and places like that. So you're not doing newsletter signups. You can absolutely jump on the first time author account for $30 a year, and you can join up in swaps and do all of that. So all of the things that I've shown, most everything that I've shown, except for signups, that's my puppy dog. Everything but for signups is available on the $30 a year first time author account. But you do have to have a BookFunnel account to use group promos and swaps and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Yes. We are out of time. I'm going to kick it over to Joy. Thank you guys so much for your questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Damon. This has been fantastic. We've had a lot of people just oohing and awing in the chat, of course. And I also dropped in the chat for everybody the link for the discount that you've got for our community. So they have
Yes.
access to that.
Yes, absolutely. Please use that discount. Even if you've already signed up for BookFunnel and you did not use the Women in Publishing coupon that we have, contact our support team. We will absolutely refund you and apply the coupon, even if you have an existing BookFunnel account. The rule at BookFunnel is if you've never used a coupon before, we'll let you use one. But we so often when we've sponsored the Women in Publishing for 6 years now. But we would get people who are like, oh, I just signed up for BookFunnel last week. And yeah, we're just like, no, we don't want you to miss out. We absolutely will apply it. Samantha said they applied it to my renewal. Yeah, if your account is coming up for renewal and you've never used a coupon, we'll absolutely just apply that coupon and it will apply to your next renewal.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for this fantastic webinar and for all that you do for our community.
Thank you guys so much for having Joy. I saw Gigi ask a question about the coupon. I'm sure Joy is going to post it in the links and give everybody the information.
Yep,
I don't actually have
drop
it.
that again. There you go. I just dropped it again for you, Gigi. Thanks for catching that for me, Damon.
Easy to remember. womeninpublishingsummit.com/bookfunnels. Yes, if you haven't already signed up, you can use that coupon to sign up. If you have, contact us and we'll apply it.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.